Well, it's spring, it's still cold, and I really need to redo the interior of my PT panel van so that I can fit the new air ride kit, which has been sitting in storage for a couple of years, and figure out where everything's going to go. Here we go. Here we go. The start of Project Air Ride and all the new parts that I have to fit, not including all the nice new bushings. So that's the full Air Ride kit about to go onto the PT panel van. Preston Tucker. Right, so that's the main side panel trim pieces removed, and then the two main paddles I've left in place. And over on the left hand side of the PT is where I'm going to fit the valves for the air ride, and behind the passenger seat I'm going to put the air tank, and then the lines will run out through the side of the van over there, and the control unit will be up in the center. Valet compressor, and then the solenoids, and this is the water tank, and this is the air filter, and here we have the brains of the operation, the ECU. And here is the controller, which will go up in the front, and last but not least, the thing that I'm probably most likely to read is the manual. I'm going to move some of these fixtures around because of the way this tank is going to be set up in the van. This little valve here for releasing the pressure, I'm just going to move to here, and I'm going to swap the intake from the compressor to the end, because my compressor will sit on the right hand side of the car. This I know is the drain. Because this tank was originally underslung, this drain should really be at the bottom, but I can't do that because I'm installing this inside. So what I might do is mount the tank like that on its side and use the bulkhead inside the car to hold this up, and then when I need to, I will just have to remove this and drain it like that. That's the little valve that came off the side of the tank. Big breaker bar time. There we go. Sometimes all you need is a 4-foot breaker bar. If you're wondering what all these tags are, they're just to let me know where everything connects up, which is obviously really, really handy. I'm removing the compressor from its bracket, which originally would have hung underneath the car like it did on the other PT, but I want this installed inside. As you can see, the compressor needs a little bit of love because it was originally fitted underneath the car. Bit of auto sol. Clean this up nicely. Obviously that's a sticker, but on the side here is a little bit of tarnish. It's going to be hidden away, but you know, it's nice to know that it's clean. Well, that's a lot better. I'm going to reposition these feet so they both stick outwards, because this is a bit awkward to get to. And there we go. Much easier to get to those. I'm going to mount the compressor to a piece of ply and then mount the ply to the floor. The reason why I'm going to do that is because I want to be able to have some kind of adjustment behind the driver's seat with the compressor on here. Then I'm going to cover this with some carpet, mount the compressor. Job's a good one. Give the contact adhesive some time to set. So that is the hose, the air hose from the compressor to the tank. Obviously I need to apply some more sealant to this. Good thing I put the cloth down. Might have a little bit too much thread sealant on there now. Before I start installing the air ride and its components in the back here, I'm going to apply some sound deadening to the floor. The next step is to run the Cat5 cable for the controller to the ECU, which is going to be at the back left of the van, using the existing cable ties here to run this to the back. I'll give it a little bit of extra length. It's nice and neat. It's the back of the control box. So there's Cat5 clips in there. It's just going to be loose for the time being. ECU from Easy Street. That's the Cat5 cable from the controller. Plug that in here. It's not wonderfully secure, to be honest. I'm going to mount this up here somewhere. And then these are all the connectors which then run off to the solenoids. Sorting out wiring, separating wires. Not my favorite pastime, I will say that. And these would be to auxiliary power and to the compressor and earth, of which there are many around here. Thankfully they're all labelled, so I know where they all should go. This is the power to the auxiliary. This is earth, of which there is one right there. Pressure sensor to the fuel tank. Relay to 12 volts and earth. That'll do for now. This will run to the power outlet on the other side of the car, the back, which is quite convenient. So this is the relay that obviously controls the compressor, and this is the wire that is marked up as being the power supply to the compressor. Now, I don't like power wires being black because they are traditionally earth, and I know for certain that the two wires coming off the compressor, one is red for power and one is black for earth. So you can imagine black to red is just not going to cut it for me. So I've got the correct gauge red to replace this with. The yellow will run to the battery. That's 12 volt constant, so that's got an inline fuse, which means I also need to try and place this fuse somewhere where I can access it. So I might have to redo this wire as well. And get rid of that. Black does not run power in my books. The correct gauge red will do perfectly. We'll run this under the carpet through to the compressor, which is behind the driver's seat. There we go. Female connector. Give it a squeeze. Reattach to the relay in the correct color. Hurrah! Now let's find a place to mount this. I'm thinking that it might go over there. I've got to think about the trim that comes over the speaker here. So there'll be a cupboard or trim here somewhere. I think that might be a good place for the relay. Makes it reasonably easy to access. And then this will run through to the battery, which is in the diesel PT underneath the passenger seat on the left hand side. So everything is running nicely down the left hand side of the car where the main rear wiring loom is. This is the pressure sensor for the tank with the little wire that runs through to the ECU. I'm just going to apply some thread sealant on here. I've made a new power cable for the relay, which runs from the battery, which is underneath the passenger seat, and then this will run through to the relay at the back and power the system. 12 volt constant. At the back right of the PT, it has a little light and a 12-volt accessory adapter, otherwise known as a cigarette lighter socket. And we need to hook up to this 12-volt auxiliary feed for the ECU. So the relay has a constant 12-volt from the battery, but the ECU for the air ride needs auxiliary 12 volts, so only on with the ignition. So I'm gonna jump her in. And this is the last bit of wiring that needs doing. I need to earth the compressor, and that will be it. Just trying to figure out a shelf for the manifolds that's also the same height as the collapsed front passenger seat. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.